Hi, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for listening to my video today. And we are in week 5, and we are to speak about our civic benefit as a Christian from a world Christian perspective view. So I thank you for listening to my video first and foremost. So what I'll be talking about today would be about volunteering and serving our time as believers. I believe that it is a true testament of what God calls for us to do, particularly serving in our homeless population. So not just serving, but my focus will be on the homeless population. A lot of times we tend to, and I've heard this statement before, and people will say, they're just lazy, or they just decided not to work anymore. But homelessness actually has another layer that affects them, and that is the mental illness as well, that plays a role in how they are not able to function in our society at times. So one of the things that I have heard before, and it just hurts my heart to hear people say things like, they're just lazy, but they're not. Sometimes these homeless individuals, they do not wake up in the morning and say, oh, today I'm going to be homeless, or today I just don't want to work anymore, or today I just want to beg on the street. And so that's something that when I see a homeless person on the street, just keep that in mind about some of the statistics that I'll be sharing today. Well, to set the tone, that was kind of the introduction there, but also as it tells us in Hebrew 3:16, it tells us, do not neglect to do good and to share what you have, for such sacrifices are pleasing to God. That I took from the English translation version on the Gateway, BibleGateway.com. Nevertheless, that's just something to kind of think about. We are called to make a difference to help the others in their quality of life. We can help by either serving our time, making donations. I know that there's also an opportunity through the Goodwill, and even through our churches, we have different benefits that you can also serve. Now, the following, one of the things that is alarming that I've seen, and that is that over 500,000 people, 500,000, again, in the U.S. are homeless currently. This is according to a recent report. Over 500,000 are living on the streets, in cars, and homeless shelters, or they're in a subsidized transitional home system that every day. So every night, these are the statistics that is happening. And this was taken, a survey taken by the National Survey last year in January, and is supported by the Social Solutions organization that helps people get back up on their feet when they have been homeless. And so those that need the help, this is a foundation that definitely helps quite a bit. So mental illness, just to give you a little brief as well, mental illness affects someone in their nervous system, and so sometimes they are not able, well, actually all the time, they're not able to function socially, but it affects different parts of the nervous system. Mental illness, again, it deprives people from being able to, find a job, hold a normal relationship just with people, and so it makes it difficult for them to hold that job. And this is done by a study in the California Public's mental health found that 15% of the homeless people do suffer from some type of mental illness. And these are the studies that have been done, the people that have been able to be surveyed. So there's a lot more going on out there that we definitely are not privy to. But it is our civic duty to help others. Just to recap, volunteering is the one thing. Being able to serve and contribute to them. It doesn't have to always be monetary, but it could be by serving time. I think one of the stories that I like to share with you is every Christmas I ask my kids, it's not about the gifts. Christmas is not about the gifts. It's about giving to others. I like to do it throughout the year as well, but I think Christmas, it just really kind of hits home because we have the opportunity and the resources to be able to have, the Christmas tree, the Christmas presents under the tree. And so what I did as my kids were growing up is the presents were managed with a certain budget, and everything outside of that or within that budget reasoning, we would say, okay, we're going to provide some of that budget over to the homeless or the homeless shelters, or we would go and serve to the homeless in parks. And so nothing, I think, ever prepares you for something like that. But one year there was a mom and her little girl, I think she was maybe 2 or 3 years old, and they came up to get soup, and that really, really touched my heart. And I thought, wow, what can we do more? How can we just not do this during Christmas? So when you see people out there, don't think about them just because they're lazy or because they are not doing something that they should be doing, because you actually have the opportunity and not have any type of mental illness, right? So I just leave you with that, as well as with a verse that says, that tells us, that commands us from God. Colossians 3:12, it says, "Therefore, as God chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience." So thank you.